That's okay. Hey, everybody. It is Kazembe here with Cultivating Intimacy, and it is June 27th, 9 o'clock p.m., as always, and we are here. We are here. We are here. And I'm happy to be here. This is going to be part two of the five love languages. And last week we did words of affirmation, and it really was, I felt the participation and the interest from the audience was great. So it was really, really, really good to be able to do that. And a lot of it came, I think a lot of good things came out of that for me in particular. And I'm just going to show, as I did last week, the book that I'm pulling from. Again, this is The Five Love Languages. Here's the book, The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And really a great book. I mean, it's really a great book. I'm going to go ahead and definitely use some of the principles in this book. So this is what I'm pulling from for these next, this one and the next two, Cultivating Intimacies. Hey, Sierra, how are you? Hey, Carmelita. Hey, Vicky. Thank you for joining. So again, my name is Kazembe Abena, and this is Cultivating Intimacy. I am known as the Heart Whisperer. I deal with intimacy. Also a certified Reiki practitioner, Tantra professional as well. I work with a lot of different energies, from Reiki to Tantra to Tree of Life. Hey, Carol Sue, to a lot of different types of energies. Shambhala, of course, Kundalini Reiki, just a lot of things that I work with. Thank you, and happy to have you, Carmelita. Happy to have you. So, and my approach, my specific interest is with intimacy. And intimacy is really quite a broad topic. It does not have to be sexual at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's deeper, and you can have a more profound understanding if you don't approach it sexually at first. Meaning that if you approach it with the understanding that we're all human beings, and we all need love, we all need affection, we all need to be affirmed, we all need to be received. And we need to give as human beings. There needs to be a synergistic relationship with ourselves and our environment, which includes our friends, our family, our lovers, our wives, our husbands, etc. So that is my focus. All right, so it is about 9:03. I'm going to go ahead and get started right quick here. So again, last week, so these are the five love languages. Last week we went over words of affirmation. Today we're going to do quality time. So the big difference between words of affirmation, well, there are many differences, but the big difference between words of affirmation and quality time is that with words of affirmation, we are focusing on what we are saying to the other person, to affirm the other person, to exalt and lift up the other person. Quality time is about us listening to the other person, and it's about what they are having to say. And I'm going to get into that in a minute and explain by what I mean when I say that. So quality time. So let me also start out by saying this. I think last time there was a brief discussion on, are there gender differences between the five love languages? You know, do certain genders favor one over the other? And is it gender specific? The research that I've done so far, and even I've read something that Gary Chapman himself said, the author of the book and the author of the principles and this method, says that he has found that there isn't. So I initially thought that perhaps men would be high in terms of words of affirmation. And another friend of mine was saying, who's a counselor, was saying, well, maybe as well, touch, physical touch. But what we found is that doesn't seem to be any sort of profound data to support that. So I just wanted to put that out there because that was on the table last week. And it looks like that is just simply not the case. So that was kind of good to figure out, and what it says is that, We are probably alike as human beings a lot more than we think we are, and even crossing genders a lot more than we think we are. So that's always good to know. It's always good to know. All right, so quality time. So quality time is really about giving your spouse, giving your lover, giving your wife, your husband quality time. Quality time means undivided, focused attention on them. If this is their love language and they are complaining about you're working too much and they seem like they're attacking your job, they're probably only attacking your job because you're not giving them enough attention. So what I mean by that is it's not so much what you're giving to your job, it's what you're not giving to them. So they are asking for the time. They're asking for time. For those, hey Safi, for those who have quality time as their love language, as one of their two top love languages, they're looking to spend quality time with you. They're looking to spend quality time with you. So in that quality time sphere, in this second love language, there are a few components of it. Number one is togetherness. Number two is quality conversation. Number three is emotional dialogue, um, which he doesn't necessarily, Gary Chapman doesn't necessarily call it that, but I'm going to call it that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Then there's personality types, which he gets into a little bit. The babbling brook versus the Dead Sea. We'll get into that in a minute. And then quality activities, which is really interesting with that one. So I'm looking forward for all these, to talk about all these. So so togetherness. So whatever activity you are doing, togetherness is defined as not only being in proximity, but also being in intention and focus on your mate. So you see this, we hear about this sometimes with couples that have been together for years and they still feel very alone. So they are together, they're in close proximity, but it is not togetherness. They are not reflecting togetherness. There's probably very little eye contact. So that means that the listening is not very good. They're just kind of just coexisting, just cohabitating. And there's nothing rich that's coming out of their living with each other anymore. It seems very stale and bland. So one way to get out of that, and we're going to get more into this as I talk about this tonight, but it's really about doing activities together where it's not so much the activity that is the focus, but it is the fact that you're doing it with your mate or your spouse or your husband or your wife. That's the most important piece of this. So it's not the activity, it's not where you are, it's who you're with. And so when we do that, true togetherness reflects that to our mates who has quality time as one of their top love languages. It reflects the fact that, listen, we are together. As long as we're doing the activity that one of us likes, you like quality time, as long as we're doing the activity that you like, and I'm there with you, that's all that matters. I'm happy to be there with you. And what that does is it builds experiences, and you share experiences together that you can reflect back on. Because if you do something out of love and out of care for someone, that there is a cherished experience. That's a cherished, loving experience that you can reflect on always, that will bring you joy. And it's a very easy way to inject some joy and some love into the relationship. So the next one I want to go into is quality conversation. So again, as I said earlier, quality conversation is different than words of affirmation, because with words of affirmation, you are focusing on what you're saying to uplift the other person. But quality conversation is about us listening with to note the body language, to note not only what they're saying in terms of content, what our spouse is saying, but also what is the emotional content of what they're saying. How are they feeling about what they're saying? So we really have to listen. We really have to take them in. We have to allow them to affect us. Yes, it is. Thank you, Carmelita. Absolutely. We have to allow them to affect us. We have to open ourselves up and receive them. I talk about this often, and this is one of the things that you're probably going to hear me say forever and ever and ever. um, the importance of being open to receive, the importance of being vulnerable, the importance of giving and receiving at the same time, the importance of in those moments of sharing with your mate or your spouse, wearing your heart on your sleeve, to be authentic and honest about how you're feeling in the moment or how you're feeling about what you're saying. When we come together with our spouses and our significant others, our boyfriends, girlfriends, whomever they may be, someone that is special to us, the shields that we put on during the day, throughout the day, let's leave those at the front door. When we come together with people that we love and that love us, it's one of those few times where we can really be ourselves. At least I would hope. I would hope that you have someone in your life who you can truly be yourself with, who you can express things truthfully and honestly, and you can express your concerns, you can express your feelings, and then someone will receive it and listen to them. Very, very, very important. So this is another component of quality conversation and quality time. So quality time, of course, as we're saying here, is not just about going out to a big movie or a concert or a gala event. It's about the two people involved. It's not about necessarily what they're doing. That's part of it, particularly if, of course, one of the two people in this equation needs to love what you're doing. Doesn't make any sense if neither person wants to do it, but both people need to love it. So it's not so much about the event as it is the people involved, because even more so, if my spouse asks me to do something and I'm not necessarily into what she's trying to get me to do, but I do it because I love her, then again, it's a decision. And we talked about the importance of decision last time, of making decisions with words of affirmation and making requests so that the other spouse can make a decision based on the love that they have for you to accompany you or to meet your request. That speaks to and that shows love. That shows that, you know what, I really don't like country music, but baby, I love you. So let's go. I'm just glad to have this another experience with you, and I know that you love it. So I'm happy to just see you happy. Let's go and let's do it. I want to be with you. So I think in an instance like that, it really reflects love, and it really tends to even strengthen the bond even more. And let's go ahead. I'll go through a couple things here that we can do. I've kind of covered them in terms of things that can actually help to make the quality conversation more effective. So number one is maintain eye contact. Maintain eye contact. You don't want to have the TV on or something else, doing something else that could really take your attention. You want to really be completely on your spouse or the person that you're involved with. The other one is, don't do something else while you're trying to talk to your spouse, or your significant other. Don't do something else. If you're in the middle of something and it's something that you really want to hear or see or read or whatever, then just tell them, listen, I want to hear what you're saying. I can't do it now because I got to finish this, or you're doing some work or whatever. I got to finish this, but let's get together in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, so that I can give you my undivided attention. I think that most people would respect that. That's been said to me, and I had to respect it. I'm like, great, sounds good. You're showing me that you really care about what I'm about to say, and you want to you want to make sure that that you have my undivided attention. That's fantastic. Let's do it. Good. So the other thing too is, of course, listening for feelings, and we talked about that a minute ago. This is really important for men too. We're going to get into this a little bit in a second, even more. But men, I've noticed, with the exception of anger, have a tough time talking about their emotions. Many of us, whether man or woman, were kind of taught probably at some point in our lives to not be so emotional, not do this, not do that, to shut down our emotions because you need to be more heady, and adults need to be basically more rational and not so emotional. We live kind of in a very heady society, but it's not heady in a good way. It's again, I've talked about this before, how we make a lot of decisions with our mind, but there is not a lot of heart in it. So when we start talking about the emotions, the reasons it's important is because our emotions kind of connect us, engage our connection to events and the world around us. It's how we feel about things, how we feel about other people, and that feeling opens up the heart. So that's why emotions are important, because that's your gateway to a connection, and it shows the other person. That energy shows the other person that you're feeling them, that you are receiving them, and that you're giving to them from the heart. So if you never engage your heart, if you're never concerned about how you feel, it can be a very empty, stale connection. And in most cases, maybe it's not a connection at all. Or maybe it's a mental one, but it could be a lot deeper than that. It could be a lot deeper than that. I'm not saying we don't need to connect mentally. I'm saying that if we're looking at a more holistic connection, there needs to be a feeling and emotional one as well. Okay. Men tend to talk about what they think about something and not how they feel about something. So if you're asking your male spouse to talk about something, he'll probably start off talking about what he thinks. If he's having a tough time talking about his feelings, and have him kind of talk about, listen, give me a few incidents today, and talk about how you felt about them that happened to you outside of the house. Give me some sort of indication of what happened. You had a tailgater that was on you. Did it make you mad, or did it make you happy that person was tailgating you? Were you frustrated, or were you irritated, or did it bring joy? Did it bring gratitude to you? How did it make you feel? Start with simple things like that. Then that can probably get them into that. Observing body language. Sometimes our body language and what we say may appear to be in conflict. So as the listener, when we are giving quality time to our spouse, we can always ask for clarity. Okay, it sounds like you're saying this, and I'm getting from you, in terms of feelings, it sounds like you feel that it seems you're saying that you felt hurt by this, or you felt excited by this. Is that true? Was it good? Is that So it's always important. It's great to ask for clarity, because that shows what? It shows that you're listening. It shows that you're listening. Another thing, when we are in quality conversation, let's make a pact, and let's agree to not interrupt until the person is done. Studies show that people take on average about 17 seconds before they want to interject, or just simply interject or interrupt. So, be committed to not interrupting. Be committed to not trying to push your viewpoint across, sell yourself, hurling any accusations. Just make sure that you just sit and just receive the person. Sit and receive and listen and pick up clues. Pick up clues and cues. All right? All right, so emotional dialogue, I've kind of touched on that a little bit. But again, so this is the other one in terms of after quality conversation. Emotional dialogue is really about, hey, hello, Bonnie, how are you? Bonnie, mom, good to see you. Um, so, emotional dialogue is learning to talk about how you feel. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Learn to talk about how you feel. And that's important. Hey, Kudasan, that's important because, again, when we can talk about our emotions and how we feel about things, we're really understanding more of who we are. We're understanding more of how we relate to the world around us. We're understanding more about how things make us feel. So if we are in certain environments and we've been denying that that environment doesn't make us feel good, and we continue to go to that environment and then we go home cranky, we're denying the fact, and we're continuing to perpetuate a problem that we're going to some sort of environment, we're doing something that is making us feel a bad way, and then we're bringing that home. So being aware of how your environment affects you, being aware of how people affect you, being aware of how certain circumstances affect you is very, very important. I think that society would have us be, in denial about a lot of things. And it's time that we own up to who we are without, wow, without, without judgment, uh, without critique, and just speak the truth. That's a step towards being authentic. Um, and there are some ways that we can actually, as as I said before, there are some ways that we can actually get past um, wanting to get past being able to speak more comfortably about our emotions. Uh, Mr. Gary, how are you, sir? One way is that throughout the day, um, if your mate is interested in quality conversation and you know that you are not, um, you're not that you're not that familiar, and you are not that at ease with speaking about your emotions, you can start by going throughout the day every 3 hours, writing down certain incidents or an event that happened to you. So the event could be on in one column, the event on one column, and then your feelings about the event in another column. So an event can be something like, there was a birthday party for one of the staff members today. How did I feel? Great. We had a high pressure, we need to meet our quota meeting today. That's the event. How did it make me feel? That goes into feelings. Things like that. Do 3 of those every 3 hours. Take them home to your spouse. Read them. Now, maybe your spouse is proficient in talking about their feelings, and they're waiting for you to be able to do the same because they want to share those moments with you. They want to see how you feel about things. So this is a way to do that. This is a way to do that. You talk about how you feel. You talk about what's there. You talk about how you felt about the day. And you do that until you get more comfortable. I think that's a really good cue for men to do that, to get comfortable with talking about feelings, aside from just being angry. As men, oh yeah, he's mad. He's mad. He's going to do something about it. He's mad. Okay, great. So you got anger now. That's good, buddy. Thumbs up. But there are many more emotions other than just anger. So let's move on past that. However, anger is really good in terms of, believe it or not, anger is a good emotion in terms of sometimes waking people up to action. Waking people up to action. You may remember it. I don't know if I said this last week, maybe the week before, but I was talking about the hierarchy of emotions. And you remember apathy, um, apathy, uh, um, guilt, and shame were at the bottom. It's almost like you're dead. They're just at the bottom because they don't inspire any movement. You know how you feel when you're depressed, when you feel shame, when you feel guilty. You just don't want to do anything. You lay your head down. Your head just hangs low. You don't want to do anything. That's that energy. It's so heavy. It's stagnating. And if something is stagnant, it's not that far off of being, depending upon what it is. If it stays not stay for too long, it's looking at a certain type of death. I've got some really good comments here. Bonnie says, "You are so right. You should not judge. We cannot look inside a person's life." That's correct. You never know why people may be feeling the way that they're feeling. You never know their history, their story. So when we are listening to someone in quality time, quality conversation, let's first really just listen. Carmelita says, "It is really an odd occurrence. However, when one partner can speak freely about their emotions, but the other partner does not receive it, it's like they are in denial." Indeed, indeed. Is that my mad face? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. Carmelita. Milwaukee, what's happening, my brother? All right, buddy, we'll see you. All right, so let's go ahead and get to, we got two more to go to. Personality types, real quick. You may be the Dead Sea sort of person where you don't say a lot, but the Dead Sea has a lot of, salt in it. It holds a lot of things. So you see and you keep everything, but you just don't speak that much. And you may be in a relationship with a babbling brook where everything that they see, it has to come out here. If I see it with my eyes or hear about it, I've got to talk about it. I've got to express it. And that's okay. Perhaps the babbling brook wants you to talk more, Mr. or Mrs. Dead Sea. And so in order to do that, perhaps you all need to schedule times to sit down and talk. 30 minutes, an hour every day, and just talk about 3 things that happen to you during the day and how you feel about them. Schedule time. Schedule time. I want to say that a lot of these things, quality time, these sorts of things, really in terms of the life of a relationship, is just as important as dinner and eating and going to work. We have to schedule them. They are critical. They're crucial. They're crucial. I also want to say that I think as men, and I think this obviously goes across gender lines, but as men, we always want to feel that we need to fix something. We want to fix something. Sometimes people, women, men, sometimes their spouses just want us to feel them. They want us to sit and receive them. So it's not always about fixing their situation and analyzing it. And we need to understand, as people that are loving our mates through their quality time, love language that they have, we need to understand that it is an investment. It is an investment in them. It's an investment in the relationship. So a relationship is not something to be managed like a project. We're not trying to, solve these problems like it's a project. Of course, you have certain things you have to solve and certain things you have to, hurdles that you have to get over. But what we're talking about here is that don't feel that something is lost or that something has no weight or no value because you feel that you haven't solved something. It still has just as much weight. It still has just as much value. And for the quality time person, even more so, because they were happy to receive your love and your understanding. So when we are listening to people, we need to make sure that we're not judging, that we're not critiquing, that we are open to receive them, that we don't interrupt, and that we are looking to feel their emotions and give them empathy and sympathy when they need it. That's what they're looking for. That's often what they're looking for. All right, so quality activity. So again, as I said in the beginning, quality activity could be something as simple as going for a walk in the park, if that's what at least one of you wants to do. Or it could be going to a concert that both of you love and you're sharing that experience together. So it's about sharing an experience, but it is really about the love, expressing the love that you have for your mate. That's what it's about. It's a little bit, if you love the event, then great, it's about that too. but it's really about expressing the love because you all are together. It is a relationship. You are investing in the relationship, and this time together is part of that relationship. Any comments or questions about that? Anyone have anything to say about that? How any insight, further insight for those that have quality time as their love language? Quality time is not one of my love languages, but this was an eye opener for me to be aware of how to conduct myself if someone does. So, anyone here have quality time as a love language? I'm just curious. Okay, I guess not. Okay, okay. So I'm going to give a couple of examples of how to further have quality time and just quality time into your relationship. And I'm reading this right out of the book again. This is the 5 love languages for those who just joined up. 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. Awesome book. I am taking 90% of what I'm saying today directly from this book. Okay, so Stephanie, hey Stephanie. All right, so you have quality time, awesome, as a love language, fantastic, fantastic. And what is it that you like to do to share quality time with your husband, Stephanie? I'm gonna wait on that response, and I'm gonna go on to giving you all some key points in terms of how to bring quality time into your relationship. So Gary Chapman says, go to the park, rent bicycles, and just ride until you get tired. Ride and enjoy, and then sit. If there's a pond, sit on the pond, feed the ducks, and just talk. So doing something outdoors is always great. In the spring, this is a big one, or the summer, picnic time. Just do a simple picnic, create a lunch basket together. You even putting together the lunch basket could be fun. Going to the store, making the cold cuts, whatever you want, making something to eat at home, and then taking it out to a park and just sitting and eating. Picnics are very romantic, so that's something. Um, Ask your spouse for a list of 5 activities that they would like to share with you, and do one of them each week. Do at least one each week. That's another great one to do. And then kind of create 5 questions. Create a time that you all sit together. It could be 30 minutes, 15 minutes every night. It could be a couple hours a week, a little date night. And part of that time, you're going to ask each other 5 questions. They could be things like, what was the happiest time in your childhood? When did you feel like you were on top of the world? What was the most difficult time that you had as a teenager? What did you feel about high school? When you were a child, what did you think you were going to be when you grew up? There's 5 right there, just off the top. And each of you has to answer them. And then once you do, once you go through those questions, each of you answer, so each person is listening to the other, then you just simply write out the next 5 that you're going to do for the next time you meet, and you make sure you have that date as well, and just keep it going. All right, so Stephanie says, it doesn't need to be anything major. Pretty much the simple things, just being together is good for me. Traveling is always nice too. Very good. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's ultimately what quality time is talking about. It's saying, listen, you're in a relationship hopefully for a reason, meaning that you love and like the person that you're with. So spend time with them. If quality time is what they need, spend time with them. I mentioned this in the beginning in terms of people who work a lot and their spouse may be complaining about their job. Again, your spouse is not really worried about your job. They're saying that you're not spending enough time with them. So it's about them. And for those people that may have a challenge in this area and saying, well, I'm working hard for the family. I want them to have the best. I'm looking to get somewhere. I'm working hard. I'm looking to take us somewhere. Okay, sounds good. Well, if your family and your spouse are feeling neglected, the question is, do you want to get to where you're going with or without your spouse? And I'm sure the answer is, I want my spouse and my family to be there with me. Great, of course you do. Of course you do. So then let's step back and let's find a way to give them more attention and quality time on your journey. Oftentimes, does it take effort? Does it take scheduling? Does it take rescheduling? Does it take shifting some things around? Does it take cutting some things back? Sure, absolutely. But again, this is a relationship. This is an investment. This is with the person that you love. So it's worth it. It's worth it all day long. All right, Yesa. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, that's me complaining to my husband. All right. All right. Well, maybe you can show him this video, Stephanie. Hopefully, hopefully this can light off a light bulb can go off for him. All right. So, any more comments or questions about this? We're going to go into the third love language next week. But any comments or questions, I am welcoming those right now. Also, just about your relationship in general, anything, and I'll be happy to answer. Again, I say this often. I'm very careful in regard to what I say publicly. So we may have to have a conversation or reading offline. So if you ask me a question and it seems like it's a bit delicate, I won't put your business on Front Street. That's not what I do. So just I know how asking questions can be a little apprehension with that. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm very aware and operate with discretion. All right. All right. So it's 9:36. I'll give it a few more minutes. Again, for those that tuned in later today, I was saying in the beginning that last week the question came up, and I actually thought this myself. I thought there would be a difference between genders in regard to the love languages. I thought perhaps that one gender would favor. Thank you, Yesa. Thank you. I thought that one gender would favor a particular love language over another. I said I would do research. I did a little research, and I'm coming back to you all after having done that research, and I'm saying that from what I found, there is no difference. Gary Chapman himself, the author of the book, The Five Love Languages, says that his many, many years, his decades of doing this, and he's seen that it's across the board. There is no gender preference in regard to the five love languages. So that was kind of interesting because I thought that men would have, physical touch and words of affirmation more than women, but you never know. You never know. So it just goes to show that as human beings, we may be men and women, but as human beings, we all have some basic needs that need to be filled. So it was kind of good to hear that. We all, I think, are more alike than we are different, no matter who we are. So it's always good to know that. It's always good to see that. Always good to see that. All right. Going to wait for some more questions here. If there are any questions or comments, I am open. And I wanted to do this series on the love languages, and I think quality time is a really, really important one because, and I'm just going to talk, of course, if there's a question, just simply write it down, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. If I am missing you, let me say this as well, and you have asked me a question and I miss it, please forgive me. It is not on purpose. I will, if I miss you completely, send it to me. Send a question to me in a personal message, a private message on Facebook, and I'll make sure that I get your question in next time, okay, if I miss you tonight. All right, so anyway, so a lot of clients have come to me with issues of time. And I think that life is really just getting more and more complicated. I'm not going to get into this discussion tonight. You don't want to get me on my soapbox, but I think it's by design. I think it's by social design and social engineering. But we are really, really, really in a complex society. And there are so many distractions. There are so many things that can take our time. So I wanted to do the five love languages to refocus ourselves on our relationships and what matters. And what matters. I'll never forget, it was probably almost 20 years ago now. I was doing a mastermind thing with some friends of mine. And And Vicky, you asked, what is the first of the five love languages? It is words of affirmation, which we covered last week. So that video is on my page. So feel free. And I've also got a YouTube channel that has all my videos, and I'll put that as a link up here as well, so you guys can access that as well. I've got probably, I guess, 12, 13 videos, I guess, maybe 15 videos. So I'll put that up as well. So Vicky, good question. It actually is words of affirmation, which we covered last week. Hey, Ezekiel. So anyway, so again, about 20 years ago, I was part of a mastermind group, and the question was asked, you're welcome, Vicky. The question was asked something like, what do you want more time to do? And I was single at the time. I was single. And my response was, and I laugh at it now, I'm like, where was my head at then? My response was, oh, I need time to do more work. Yeah, there's so much work to do. I've just got to get it done. So I wish I had more time for work. Yeah, that's it. Not realizing just how that sounds. I mean, and I think that's kind of the society that we are in today. I think that we can easily get swept up in the tornado of responsibilities, the tornado of corporate America, the tornado of making money. And let me stop there. Money is important. You can't pay your bills on good intentions. Money is important. I love money. Fantastic. But what I'm saying is that if we are working so hard to get that money, to get that paper, and we are denying the people that are close to us, and we can't share the fruits of our labor, what good is it? What good is it? We have one life. We're here to share it. No man is an island. So I really wanted to do this series for everyone and for myself, to give myself a reminder of what's really important, of what is really, truly, honestly important. And what is important is ourselves as human beings and other people as human beings. That's what's important. And we really can't afford to lose sight of that. We really can't. We really can't. So that is something that I think that we should never forget. And again, it's easy to forget. It's very easy to forget. When you see corporations who are treating people as numbers, basically, it's easy to get caught up in that. It's easy to think that that's all there is. But we always have the power. We always have the power and the ability to determine what is right for us and what is important for us in our own relationships. And I've said this before, and I want to say it again. If you are in a relationship, you owe it to yourself and your spouse and your lover, whomever you're in a relationship with, or lovers, or whomever. You owe it to yourself to get together with that person or persons and determine how you want your relationship to be. What is going to make you two happy? Because no one's in a relationship but you two. Yes, your relationship affects other people. Yes, it affects the family. Yes, it affects the community, but it starts and ends with you two. So I really push people to make their decisions for themselves. And one of the things that I think somebody joked earlier about me with the mad face. One thing you really want to see a mad face, well, start, people telling people how they should have their relationships without them focusing on themselves is really, I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, all right. So I am probably going to shut this down. It is about 9:44, about to be 9:45 in a minute. If there are no questions or comments, I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to give you guys I'll give you guys another minute, couple more minutes, and just see. Did what I say resonate with anyone today? I know that, who said yes? Yesa said she needed to hear it. Did anyone else need to hear this information that I presented tonight? I know I did. When I was reading the book, I was like, oh, wow. All right. Yes, I need to hear this. So is there anyone else? All right. All right. So again, I am going to uh, post my YouTube channel link on my page. So stay tuned for that at some point. I guess I'll do it right after this. And indeed, let us continue to go through the 5 love languages. I will go through. What am I going to go through next week? I'm going to go through. Let's see what's next. I think next week is receiving gifts. All right, so Stephanie says that she is the babbling brook and he's the Dead Sea. All right. Okay. Okay. Very, very good. Very, very good. And part of that is, you know what? We need to let people be who they are. We just really need to let people be who they are. There's always a way to deal with, if we love them, there's always a way to deal with that, with those types of differences in personalities. There's a way. I think it's important to speak up about what we need in a relationship. Don't expect the other person to know just by telepathy. You know, speak up and communicate what you need to your spouse. And if they still don't get it, then it's like, okay, well, maybe they don't understand. Work on trying to show them. Work on trying to show them, and show them these videos. Show them these videos. I'm doing these videos for us, for everyone, for the community, so that we can all learn together. So this is just not up here for me to talk. This is for everyone, hopefully, to share it. So on that note, I really want to encourage everyone to share these, to spread the word. Again, I'll be doing this every Tuesday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing the love languages. We're going to go on receiving gifts, which is love language number 3 next time. And I want you all to have a blessed week, a lovely week. And again, my name is Kazimbe Abena, holistic practitioner, heart whisperer, and intimacy coach. And I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday. You want to reach out to me for sessions? I do remote sessions where I do a combination of healing work, energy healing work, and also coaching/channeling work at 30 minutes each. So it ends up being a full hour. And I am offering that no matter where you are, in the comfort of your own home. You can receive this therapy that will really give you a lot of confidence, bring you more joy, relieve stress, and any other things that you'd like to address. So that's what we do. We address what you need where you are now. All right. Thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful week. Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you to everyone. Yesa, Vicky, thank you to everyone, Bonnie, for their involvement this evening, and for tuning in. Thank you so much. You all are what makes this what it is. So spread the word, and I thank you for your involvement and your tuning in tonight. Peace and blessing, everybody. Bye-bye.